Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to HBH Podcast. Are you ready? Ready, ready, ready.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how to start this episode. Okay. Um, what is up, everyone? Today we are doing a episode that Horror Man 93 has been begging me to do. This was his idea. Don't get me wrong. I'm always down to talk about Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees. But this was his idea. This was his episode. He was like, dude, let's do an episode over Freddy versus Jason. Which, I mean, I'm always down to talk about Freddy and Jason for sure. And this is actually a movie that I haven't talked about too much here on the channel. So I'm excited about that. Um, I'm a pretty bad host. Usually when the co-host comes up with ideas, I'm like, nah, man, we're not going to do that.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea. So we're going to do Freddy versus Jason from 2003. Again, I haven't talked about it much on the channel, so I'm actually excited about that. But Horror Man 93 will get into his experience with Freddy versus Jason. I'll get into mine somewhat, and we'll just talk about the movie a little bit and how we feel about it. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about crossovers in general. For me, I am not the biggest crossover fan, honestly. I think that Freddy vs. Jason probably is the best crossover. So some of you already know kind of how I feel about Freddy vs. Jason. I'm also a big fan of Alien versus Predator. There's not a ton of crossovers that I can really name. There's like Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys, from Full Moon, but overall,
Yeah.
I'm not a huge crossover person. I like it better when characters stay in their own franchise, because a lot of times I feel like crossovers just don't work. I feel like it's kind of a cheesy thing, but in this case, Freddy versus Jason, was such a big one. Freddy and Jason fighting each other has been a thing since the 80s. People would talk about it, and but yeah, I think this is the best one, and I'm definitely not the biggest fan of crossovers. Like, people still talk about crossovers to this day. They're like, Freddy, I want to see Freddy versus Jason 2, or I want to see Michael Myers versus Pinhead, and it's like, no, nobody wants to see that, really. So, what are your thoughts on crossovers, Horror Man?
I'm not huge on them either. Like I like Alien versus Predator, and I like there's another one, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman from the 40s, and I don't like Alien versus Predator, the sequel Requiem. Not too much of a fan of that. But Freddy versus Jason is easily my favorite crossover of all of them. Yeah, people have been talking about Freddy versus Jason 2 may happen or something for so long, but I don't think it would ever happen. I think it's way too past the point of it ever happening.
Yeah, I think that people who want Freddy versus Jason 2 is like, I don't understand it. Like, clearly we're not getting it. Um
Mhm.
Freddy versus Jason, though, definitely is my favorite crossover of all time. I think it's a good mashup. People wanted it for so long. It was a very anticipated, crossover film. Freddy versus Jason was an event movie. Like, that was a big deal when it released in '03 for sure. Like, they've been talking about that for
Ever
decades at that point.
ever since the ending of Jason Goes to Hell, where Freddy dragged Jason Mask into hell on the ground,
It was
that's
even
when,
before that.
yeah, because Robert, he even in the 80s, he said fans would come up to him and ask him who would win in a battle between the both of those.
Yep.
And but it really started after Jason Goes to Hell's ending that really spoke up a conversation of it
It
can
really
actually
it,
happening. And I know Adam Marcus, he said he threw it in as like a gag. He didn't really, think it was gonna be a battle 10 years later after that.
yeah,
So
which worked out perfectly though, because it really set up for Freddy versus Jason.
yeah, that was the perfect setup for it. My experience with Freddy versus Jason goes back to the year it came out. Um, about 2 years before it came out, I started watching A Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th series at the same time. So I had 2 years to prepare for that movie. So I started watching all the seven Elm Street movies at the time that was out, and I think at the time it was up to Jason X in 2001 or 2002. So I had seen all of those and Jason Goes to Hell, and then I remember Freddy versus Jason coming out when the trailer. I think the trailer came out in like so the movie came out in August, so the trailer would have been out like 3 months before that. So I remember earlier in that year that the trailer came out, and then the TV spots would appear so much when it was coming out. I remember I had this magazine. I had a magazine, and it was Starlog category for Freddy versus Jason, and it was a whole complete magazine of almost scene by scene of the movie, and I thought that magazine was awesome, and it still is awesome. I wish I still had it. That right there alone got me more hyped for the movie. And then when the movie was coming out in 2003, um, we went to go see it in the theater the day after it opened, so it would have been August 16th because it opened on the 15th. And the opening weekend for that movie was insane. Like I was reading it made $36 million in opening weekend, and it only had a $30 million budget, so it made its budget back and then some. And then it went on to make over $100 million. And but my experience when I went to the theater, that was insane. Like I loved watching that movie in the theater. It was probably the most hyped I ever been for a horror movie in the time I've been watching horror movies. And when we went in there, it was crowded. It was packed. It was not a seat left open in that theater. And whatever movies was showing that weekend, they got crushed by Freddy versus Jason. That was the movie of that weekend. It was an event. It was definitely an event.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's definitely an event movie. Like that was a big deal. I feel like even people who really could care less about, the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise and Friday the 13th was there to see it. Just because like,
Yeah,
everybody was talking about that. That was a big deal. Even the promotion for Freddy versus Jason was great when they had like that weigh-in and everything.
yeah, they
It was
had
like
it in
super
Las
cool.
Vegas.
Yeah,
They-
like it was gonna be like a boxing match. Like it was promoted
Yeah,
very well. So it really was an event movie. Even people who could care less about those characters was there to see that movie.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, the promotion for that film was probably one of the best promotions ever. Like you had the TV spots, and then of course you had Michael Buffer, the guy that did the ring announcements. Well, in
Yeah.
the boxing, he was there and hyping it up, and Freddie comes out and they weigh him, and Jason got weighed, and Freddie, he just talked so much smack to Jason during that conference. It's hilarious to watch now if you watch it on YouTube back.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Oh yeah, they don't do stuff like that no more, really, for
No,
movies. Like,
dude, promotion for movies now just sucks. Like even just
yeah,
everything that they do now sucks. Life just isn't the same as it was in the 2000s. Like if we got a Freddy
mm,
versus Jason today, it would just be like regular promotion. There'd be a trailer, some TV spots, and that's it. There wouldn't be anything cool like that today.
it wouldn't have that special feel that the 2000s had for that. It would
No,
just feel like, oh, it's another horror movie with Freddy and Jason coming out. Like, I mean, people would be excited for it, but it would not be anywhere compared to about how it was in the first one, if they ever made a second, which they I highly doubt.
they won't. We ain't never gonna see a second Freddy versus Jason. There's no way. Even though people want that apparently so bad, which I think is stupid. Then again, there's people online who also think we're getting like Halloween Ends Part Two. So I'm not sure.
You know, I
People
hope
are
not.
just. I think people are just dumb. That's the whole thing with like Robert Englund too. Like even if they did do Freddy versus Jason too, Robert wouldn't play Freddy, which would really make no sense. Like where would you go? Like you don't need to do anything else with that.
Yeah, they kind of explored that when they did the comic books after Ash versus Freddy versus
Which are
Jason
great
comic book.
comic books.
That's the closest we ever will get to a sequel to the first one.
Yeah,
Um, I feel so lucky that I got to see Robert's last performance as Freddy on the big screen because he's never going to play Freddy again. And I mean, technically, he played Freddy in Goldberg's in
Goldbergs.
2000. The Goldberg's, yeah,
That was 2018, I
2018.
think.
Yep, he did it for a Halloween episode, I think.
Yeah, I watched
But
that episode live actually because I was like so pumped for that because it was like the
mhm,
stupidest thing, but just to see him back as Freddy was like a huge deal. So I watched that episode live on TV. I was like, I can't miss that. Like Robert, he's
mhm,
playing Freddy again, even though it's not in a movie. Like whatever, it was cool to see him, put the makeup back
yeah.
on and be that character for the show.
I mean, Robert still goes to conventions in full makeup sometimes. He still put it on and take pictures with people. But as far as a movie goes, no. Or a show again, probably not. I do know he would do some voice work probably in an animated series or maybe a cameo in the next movie
He mentioned
as
that
himself.
before, like voicing Freddy or whatever, and he said something about he would play like a dream doctor, like in a
Yeah,
future film, which I think
so
would actually be cool. I'd love, like, no matter what they do with the Elm Street franchise moving forward, I would actually love for Robert to have some sort of involvement, even if it's something small.
yeah, that would be great if he has even the littlest part, like a voice acting role or a dream doctor. That would be cool. I wish he would do that. But yeah, the movie, I always love this movie. Like, I know a lot of people like always brag on the characters. They don't like the characters in the movie, but I
Yeah.
I really got no problem with none of them characters. Like, I like
Well,
Lori. I like her as a final girl in there. I like Monica Keenan and Will and Freeberg. It's a fun cast of characters. Kelly Rowland character Kia, she's fun to watch. Even though she wasn't very experienced in acting because that was her first movie too. Monica Keenan's first movie.
I think what
Um,
what makes me angry the most is, people that hate Freddy versus Jason. Like, okay, you have the right to your opinion. You don't have to like the movie. But
right.
like, how are you going to complain about the characters not being strong? Or like, I don't like the story to Freddy versus Jason. It's like, do you not realize that the movie was made for you to see Freddy and Jason fight? That's all anyone cares about. It's a slasher movie. A lot of our favorite slasher films from the 80s didn't
Yeah.
have the strongest characters, didn't have the strongest story. So Freddy vs. Jason having that, not having a strong story or strong characters, which I like it. I think they took it in a great direction. I don't think that they could have made Freddy versus Jason any better. So people complaining about, oh, it's not good enough, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what are you there for? The film is called Freddy versus Jason. You're there to see Freddy and
Mhm.
Jason fight each other and people die. And guess what? That movie delivers.
And when you think about it, like if you watch the whole Friday the 13th franchise, there's not a lot of strong characters. There's some, but most of them are throwaways and just to get killed. And Freddy versus Jason didn't need to be, a strong story.
No.
And with the whole point of it was, like you said, seeing Freddy versus Jason battle. And I think it delivered with both of the battles that they had. But I would say the second battle is where it really picked up. And it's the best battle of the movie.
Yeah.
But the characters, I don't mind them. Like, of course, they're not fucking written well.
Yeah, they don't have
Um,
to be.
like there's that one line that Monica Keenan says about Freddy died
Freddy
by
died
fire
by
and Jason
fire,
by water.
Jason
How
by
can we use
water.
that?
How
Dumbest
can we
Like
use
that's
line.
that?
that's the worst line in the movie.
Dude, it's the
And
dumbest line, dude. Okay, like before we recorded this episode, me and Horror Man decided to revisit the film just to kind of
mhm.
refresh and watch it right before recording. And every time I hear that line, ever since I first heard the line all the way till now, that is the dumbest line ever. I hate that line. Like, Freddy versus Jason, I'll defend the movie. I think it has its problems. If you really break down Freddy versus Jason, it has its problems. Okay, yeah, that's fine. You could do that with almost every movie, anyways. But Freddy versus
Yeah,
Jason, you break it down, it has its problems. But that line has always just angered me.
it's cheesy. It's a very cheesy line, and the way she delivers it too, it's like really. But other than that, I like her performance as Lori.
Oh, I do
Um,
too.
the guy that played Jason in the movie, King Kersinger, I like his
Yes.
performance, and I know a lot of people don't care for his portrayal of Jason, but I never disliked it. I always thought he was cool as Jason.
That's another thing I want to talk about. People always talking about Ken Kersinger isn't good as Jason, blah, blah, blah. I don't understand that. I think he's actually great as Jason. I know everybody preferred, Kane Hodder to play Jason. We all know how
Mhm.
that story went. Kane Hodder really did get screwed out of that, which is
Yeah,
unfortunate, and I hate that for him. But Ken Kersinger is like good as Jason. I had no problem with him as Jason at all. I mean, I think it would have been cool if Kane got
mhm.
to play Freddy or Jason, not Freddy. It would have been cool if he would have got to play Jason, but like I'm not mad at that. I never understood people not liking his performance. Like, what is it? Like, I thought he did fine as Jason.
A lot of complaints is that he moved too slow. He was kind of like a Frankenstein monster, but I don't got problems with that. Like
That's
I like
never
how he
been an
looks
issue for
too.
me.
With he wears the jacket in the movie. That was the first time that Jason wore a jacket. I think they do that again in the reboot of 2009. He wore a jacket, but yeah, he's a badass Jason. Like I love his scene where he kills the one guy in the bed, Trey,
Yeah, that's
when
the
he
best
folds
kill in the
him
whole
out.
movie.
I remember people in the theater, they had a great reaction of seeing that him getting folded up. Like it was that kill right there's got to be probably in the top Jason kills for me,
Talk
anyways.
talk a little bit about your experience seeing it in the theater. I know you were younger then, but like how did
Mm.
you react to that kill? Like for me, if I saw that in the theater, I would have like lost my mind. I would have thought that was like the coolest thing ever.
I did. I really thought it was cool. I loved every second of being in that theater watching the movie. And I feel like for the most part, everybody that was in there really enjoyed watching it
Yeah,
by the reaction they had for certain scenes. Like when the killing scenes happened, they definitely had a big reaction. And some of the one-liners Freddie said too in the movie, they had a reaction to as well. Like Freddie's one-liners in the movie is good. Like
very
I
good.
love it's way better than some of the previous ones like Freddy's Dead or The Dream Child.
It's
I
better
don't
than
care for those.
anything in Freddy's Dead.
Yeah, especially how Freddy's makeup looked in the movie in this one.
Oh
It was
yeah.
a big step up from part 5 and 6 together. Even when he's in the Devil Freddy makeup, that is great as well.
Did people know how I feel about that? I did that YouTube short here on the channel that blew up.
Mhm.
I think that's definitely one of the most underrated looks for Freddy Krueger is Demon Freddy at the end of Freddy versus
Yeah.
Jason. It's funny because I got a lot of comments of people like saying like, "Oh yeah, Wes Craven's New Nightmare makeup is better." Blah blah blah. I'm like,
Yeah.
like I feel like a lot of the people who watched that short thought that that was him from like New Nightmare or something. I think some people were confused. I don't know
Mhm.
how.
Well, New Nightmares look for Freddy is great too, but yeah, I wish it was a little longer though when he was in the Demon Freddy makeup because
Yeah.
it's a short scene of him jumping out of the water and having some dialogue with Lori. I think he says, "What's wrong, Lori? You missed your wake up call." But yeah, another reaction they had in the theater. That's when Freddy says, "How sweet dark meat." Everybody in the theater said, "Oh." Like, it was a collective, "Oh," like, it was a shocking
Yeah.
moment or something. I remember that, and then afterwards, we left the theater, so many people were in it that night, and probably close to 70 or 80 people was in it.
I think I remember on the commentary for Freddy versus Jason, Robert Englund was talking about like when the movie premiered that he was
Mhm.
driving past. I don't know if it was a certain theater or or multiple theaters. I'm not sure, but he was talking about how people were just lined up outside of the
Right.
theaters just waiting to see that movie. I mean, it really truly was an event movie.
And some
And it's
people
sad because
even say
we ain't
that.
gonna get anything like that no more. I mean, The Exorcist, was such a big deal that people are lining up, but I don't think we're ever gonna have any sort of event films anymore like this. I think that Freddy vs.
Mhm.
Jason probably is the last one. I'm not sure how it was for like Alien versus Predator. That came out the year after
Mhm.
Freddy versus Jason, but we're never gonna have another event horror movie like that ever. I don't think. I think that's something that ended with Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, I remember hearing people on YouTube or online, they said that when they went to the theater, some of them they couldn't even get a ticket because it was sold out.
Yep.
So they had to go to another theater just to watch the movie. That's how big it was. Um, but yeah, it was no for Alien versus Predator was nowhere near on the level as that one.
No. I mean,
Um,
the truth is, it's almost like what would make an event movie like that again? Because there's nothing that they could do. Like,
yeah,
what could you cross over now? Crossovers for me, I can't really think of any in the like most recent years, but crossovers are pretty much dead, I think. So there's really nothing like that. And the buildup for Freddy versus Jason, the promotion was so huge that also helped that you know people go see that movie.
yeah, I remember when it was coming out, they wanted to do like Michael Myers versus Pinhead. They
Yeah.
was close to making that, but I'm glad that they didn't make that one.
That's the thing that a lot of people probably don't know. Like in one of the endings for Freddy versus Jason, they wanted to have Pinhead in it, and I think one of the endings
Mhm.
was also had something to do with Ash Williams, which is what led into the comic books they did.
Oh, they had so many scripts for Freddy versus Jason too. They had at least over 10 scripts. And yeah, Pinhead, he did appear in hell after they died or something,
Which
and
to
he
me
was
would have been
waiting for them.
stupid.
Yeah, the ending we did get, I love that ending when Lori cuts Freddy's head off.
Yeah.
There's really isn't a winner in the movie. When I was going into the theater, I was expecting one of the two to win. And
Yeah,
then
like a
when she
clear winner.
yeah, when she cut his head off, I was like, "Wait a minute, like, so there is no winner." But then the next scene, you see Jason coming out the water with Freddy's head,
Yeah, and
and
Freddy winks.
Freddy, yeah, I think Freddy won because
No,
if you
I
watch,
agree. I agree. I think Freddie definitely won that. I mean, if you look at it, as we were talking even before we started doing this podcast, you were saying how like if it was like a boxing match, you know how they do the points for boxing
yeah,
matches. If you really break it down, not counting what Lori did. Let's just say that didn't happen at all. Let's just look at what Freddy and Jason did to each other in the film. The damage that they've done to each other. Freddy Krueger
yeah,
definitely did way more damage. So if you went by points, if it was like a legit boxing match and you went by points, Freddy Krueger
mhm,
won for sure. I think that if you look at it, like Jason did some really heavy damage to Freddy. I still feel that way, but yeah, point wise, it would have went to Freddy Krueger if it was a boxing match.
yeah. In both battles, like he had the upper hand in
Yeah,
every because he when Jason threw attacks at him, Freddy countered it with his glove. Freddy
yep,
was just stabbing him over and over, and then at one point, Freddy had the machete in the glove.
yeah.
Now, I love when Freddy puts his glove and the razor into his eyeballs.
Oh yeah, it's a
And
great shot.
some of my favorite scenes in that movie, though, is taking place at that rave
Oh yeah.
when when Jason when Jason kills that one guy and twists his head around, and then
Yes.
he goes after the other guy after he gets set on fire. That's one of my favorite scenes in the
Yeah,
movie.
that whole scene is great. I think to me, like looking at it, that's where Ken Kersinger really shines as Jason throughout the whole thing, in my opinion. Like that's to me probably his best scene.
Yeah, even though Hersinger, he didn't do the fire stunt, there was another guy that did
No,
it, but
no, yeah.
he did, all the stuff that he
Everything
wasn't on
around
fire.
that, yeah.
Yeah, the dream sequences in that movie is pretty good too. Like, I do like Mark's dream sequence when, he's trying to stay awake and he goes in the bathroom and tries to get the last caffeine pill,
Yeah.
but it falls into the sink. And, because his brother in the movies committed suicide or something.
Yeah, he did.
And his brother is in the bathtub. And that's just Freddy playing mind games with him to
Freddy
kill him
Krueger
later
doing
on.
what Freddy Krueger does best.
Yep. And I love that he put Freddy's back on his back. That was clever to me.
It's actually funny, yeah.
That's another complaint about the movie. Freddy only got the one kill. Well, yeah, he got one kill, but Freddy, like, if you look at it, he doesn't have a high body count in a lot of the movies before that.
No, but that's another thing that I actually want to mention in this show is like you got to look at this like the story for Freddy vs. Jason works for me. You have to if you're going to have them fight, you have to have them
Hmm.
come together in some way. So Freddy using Jason to get
Yeah.
everyone to remember him so he could get his powers back to me works. Like I
Yeah.
don't know where else you would have went with that in my opinion. I think that was a perfect way to take that story and to bring those characters together. So I don't know. I feel like people just complain about everything. This is one of those movies where like you literally turn your brain off and you have fun with it. Like you're there to
Mhm.
see Freddy and Jason fight. Like people complain about every little thing in it, and I think that's actually a perfect way to bring those characters together. I love how they did it.
I agree. And having Freddy use Jason's mom, Pamela,
Yeah.
um, even though it wasn't Betsy Palmer, it was another
What
actress
was
named
her name?
Paula Shaw that played her.
Yeah, she did
Um,
amazing as Pamela too.
yeah, and she just passed away like a year ago or so, so that's sad.
Yeah,
And yeah, but I think she did a good job in those two scenes that she
I
had.
think so too.
Yeah, but Betsy Palmer did get the script and she read it and she didn't want to do it, so
Yep.
Betsy could have came back, but it's kind of a missed opportunity. But if she didn't like the script, she wasn't going to be in it. So they hired Paula Shaw to do it. And I don't got no complaints with her.
She must not have needed a new car.
She probably had a couple cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to mention too about Freddy versus Jason, and this is coming from a fan of the film. Like I'm a fan of Freddy versus Jason. What is up
Uh-huh.
with everybody flying in this movie? Like Jason's hitting
Yeah.
people, they're in the dream world. I get it. Freddy can do whatever.
Yeah.
They're in the dream world, whatever. Still looks silly to me, but like, what is up with that? Like, whose idea was it? Let's just have everybody flying around in this movie. It's stupid.
It was the director's idea, Ronnie Yu, because
Yeah.
he was a Hong Kong director. I think he directed action films over there, and he took a lot of inspiration probably from WWE at the time.
But
And when you
still,
really watch it, you could see Freddie doing some kind of wrestling moves, kind of.
yeah, pretty
And
much.
but yeah, that's stunt work they did on the wires, a bunch of it.
Which is it's just bad. It's just not good. I'm not sure why he would think that would have been a good idea. I mean, I
Maybe
guess he was probably just looking to make it like this out of this world type thing. Like this is a big fight, so he tried to make it like ultra huge by people flying around and stuff, which doesn't work in my opinion.
maybe he wanted to showcase maybe Jason's strength and see what he could
Yeah,
really
but
do.
it's dumb because if you would have like if you're gonna make a Freddy versus Jason movie or any movie that involves Jason, watch the other films and you'll see that that never happens.
Well, actually, Ronnie Yu, he only did see the original movie,
Well,
and I think he's seen the original Nightmare, but he didn't see nothing past those two movies. So he actually Fred Ronnie Yu, he wanted he didn't want it to do the movie at first,
yeah, he
but
turned it down, didn't he?
there was other considerations like Wes Craven. They offered him to direct, and they offered Del Toro to direct,
Yeah,
and they both turned him down. But the second time, Ronnie Yu got the job because I guess he came around to it because I think they gave him more, freedom to do what he wanted.
yeah.
But Ronnie Yu, he was already working on a horror movie Bride of Chucky directed before that.
Yep. You know what's funny?
Mm,
I personally wouldn't change anything about Freddy versus Jason. I mean, I have my problems with it, but I just wouldn't. You know, we kind of talked about that a little bit. Like we were talking about like, Freddy's
yeah,
Dead and Jason X and how they suck. But
yeah.
I still technically wouldn't change anything about them. I don't know why. I just like I like that's how they are. And I feel this way with Freddy versus Jason. But could you imagine a world where Wes Craven did Freddy versus Jason?
It would have been a better film than what we got
Oh,
because Wes
yeah.
Craven way better director than Ronnie Yu.
Oh yeah.
The only complaints I got with Freddy vs. Jason is like since he didn't see the other movies, then he didn't know that in the movie they said Jason's afraid of water, but if you've seen the other movies, Jason was not afraid of water. Because in Jason
Well,
Takes
look at part
Manhattan,
6.
part six, in Jason Takes Manhattan, he's in the water of quite a
Oh,
bit.
yeah. So it's
He
like
actually went from Manhattan, Vancouver or wherever he was at on the boat to Manhattan.
which is funny because it's like, if you're gonna be doing a movie that involves Jason Voorhees and you've only seen the first film in that franchise, which really has nothing to do with Jason Voorhees, wouldn't you do your research and watch the other films or, like, try to learn more about that character when you know you're gonna be writing
Yeah.
and directing for this character? Is just kinda funny. I mean,
Well, he
what?
directed it. He directed it. He didn't write it. It was two writers that wrote it. The
Well,
movie.
yeah, but, like, either way, like, wouldn't you do some research if you're gonna do some sort of involvement with a character?
Yeah, I agree. I wish he would have watched the other films to get some more backstory, background on him. But no, he just threw that in there. Like we, as fans, we know Jason was in water in those previous movies.
Yeah, so
I think he was
basically,
trying to make something up for Freddy to have a fear, well, to use his fear against Jason.
I guess, basically, Ronnie is just kinda stupid. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I like Ronnie's direction in that movie. He's not bad.
I wouldn't change anything about Freddy versus Jason, I like how it is. I have no problems with it.
I like there's a behind the scenes of Ronnie Yu directing.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where, Kia's hitting Jason with whatever she was hitting with, and he was directing her and he's like, pick this up, and then you hit it. It was so hilarious because he was like beating the crap out of Kersinger, and Kersinger, he kind of swung at him. It was just hilarious. Ronnie Yu, I don't, he didn't do horror movies after that. That was his only two that he did.
Yeah, I think, just by watching the movie and, like, the BTS and stuff and just, like, the content that the
Mhm.
movie is, they had, like, a blast making that film for sure.
Oh, I agree. You can tell just this is the way the movie was filmed. Like these people, they knew they were on a fun set. Like, the
Oh, yeah.
movie, it really took I was reading it took from September 2002 to December to make it, so it was only a 3-month shoot. I think
Wow.
they filmed it up in Canada, I think Vancouver or
Yeah.
Ontario, one of those places, and, yeah, it was definitely a blast for them. Like, and, of course, now I think Freddy versus Jason is 23 years old going on now. I think it's in that almost a classic. or probably already is a classic to me.
I think I would consider Freddy versus Jason a classic for sure, especially with it being out for so long. But yeah, Freddy versus
Yeah.
Jason's definitely a fun one. I think like what I want people to get out of this podcast, like our love for the film and how a lot of people hate on it, but a lot of people love the film too. I think what I want people to get out from the like what I want people to get from this podcast is
Hmm.
revisit it. Revisit Freddy versus Jason. If you haven't seen it in a long time, definitely give it another watch. I think it holds up well. There's still some things in there like CGI wise that isn't amazing, but like revisit it and give it another shot, especially if you haven't seen it in like years.
Yeah, it had some goofy CGI with like the Freddy worm smoking.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, when you watch it today, it didn't age well, but back then I didn't, I thought it was a funny scene. Him getting but that kind of does remind me of like Freddy's Dead territory though, like it's too comical.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree for sure.
There's another thing I like about that movie. I like the soundtrack. The
Oh yeah,
soundtrack
great
to the
soundtrack.
movie, yeah, it was like a lot of new metal bands, like Slipknot was on there. There's a band called El Nino on there. Killswitch Engage. It was a bunch of those big early 2000s new metal bands. And even the score that Graham Revere did, I'd like his score for the movie.
Yeah. No, that's actually something we should do for a future episode on the show is talk about like horror soundtracks and stuff for sure. But
Yeah, a bunch of great ones. A bunch of
oh
great horror
yeah,
soundtracks,
there's a ton
especially
of
for the late 90s.
there's a ton of great songs that we can mention from horror films, which I don't want to do that here since we might do an episode on that because there's a certain horror soundtrack that I could talk about for a while, but I'm not going to do that here. But I guess
Mhm.
it's kind of more of like a retrospective type video or podcast on Freddy versus Jason. But like I said, just revisit the film if you haven't seen it in a long time. Me and Horror Man 93 love Freddy versus Jason. I think it's a great film. I think it's still fun. Um, I don't get the hate for it. I know Horror Man doesn't get the hate for it, but let us know in the
Mhm.
comment section what you guys think of Freddy versus Jason, if you're a fan of it or not. Tell us your story. Did you guys see Freddy versus Jason in the theater? Sadly, I didn't, but I feel like I kind of remember like advertisements for the film. I could be wrong, but I feel like I do, or maybe it was for the DVD release or something. But either way, I feel like I remember something of Freddy versus Jason when I was like super young, but I didn't go see it in the theaters. But let us know your experience with Freddy versus Jason in the comment section down below. Tell us what you think about it. Follow me on Instagram. That's in the description. Follow Horrorman93 on Instagram. That is also in the description. And with that being said, we'll hear from you guys soon.